I remember the one of my fondest moments was the first time I did the Thanksgiving drive with Brother Sherlock, and that was just a huge impact for me, and that kind of led me down the path that I went on in terms of service, just wanting to always be able to assist the people around me, making sure that people around me always had what they needed.
But the Catholic concept is somewhat good. We have differences in spirituality, but the helping people type of stuff is for the most part what it does. And some of the things that they did, I remember the first time I went on one of those with the kids, and I saw the energy and the effort that was put into serving the food and the chickens and bringing in stuff and having to pack it up and move it to take it over to the church and help to not just gather it but to give it. See, part of the relationship is that we don't do enough of is to be a gatherer of it, but also to go on the other side and look at the faces as you give. Because if giving is more blessed than receiving, a lot of us are failing because we rather get than to give. When you really get good at giving, there's nothing like it. This is why when you have children, you understand what do you want for them for Christmas? If they ask you, you have to make up something because you really don't care. What makes you happy is that they're happy because you're giving them and just make it because it's not about being happy for them. It's about joy because it's what's inside. Happy is an outside emotion. Joy is an internal a condition. And so at Christmas time, I don't even ask for anything. I'm going to get something, but watching him get now as he gets older, not having 10 things, but to get the one thing that he wants. And he takes it and he carries it and he cherishes. He, to this day, all the other things came and went after about a year, but Lightning McQueen ain't go nowhere. Lightning McQueen is still hanging tough. Now he's been around for quite a few years. I have to listen to Lightning McQueen, uh, Cars One, and I have a video in the car. I have to hear Cars One, Cars One, Lightning McQueen. But it meant that much to him. There were more expensive things you could get him, but it's not what he wants. Sometimes we give what we want them to have, and not think about what it is that they want to have. When you consider other people, Rice helped to let me learn that giving to y'all let me know that some of y'all appreciated what you got. And I'm just praying that y'all are giving it to others, that which is what matters. And whatever way that is, you don't have to do it the same way that it was done to you or for you, but just don't look at people down your nose and say that he should have got a job. What would you no? You help who you can, and who you can't help, you just leave alone. That's a blessing. That's how your blessing comes, and it's going to come. What I told my church when I left, I said I'm an older father because my son came in when I was 56. I think it was 56. So I'm a father slash grandfather, and I work with those kids, and the kids that I did now are having kids now. Some of them are 30 years old when I from church, and when I left the church to go pastor, I said, all I ask one day, I said, if I ever have a kid, that you just pass a little piece of what I gave you onto him. Don't you criticize him if he falters. Don't you condemn him because he's a pastor's kid, this and that. No, I never made any of those evaluations and judgments against you. Either I could help you or I just got out of your way. And that's the way we ought to do it. You either help them or leave them alone. That's the one thing that Rice and I see the gratitude by some of the actions of some of the young men that I have encountered over those 8 years. Some of them wasn't always the best students, but they were still good people.
Of course. And it, we can go around and around in circles about all of those things. It's a lasting impression. It's a lasting effect that won't change. Rice is who we are. Rice made us all a family. Rice
Mm-hmm.
is why a lot of us are successful, and I'm thankful every day that I was blessed to go to Rice. I'm thankful that a lot of people were blessed to go to Rice. I'm thankful my older brother went to Rice. You know, I had some relationships with some of the faculty before I even came in because they remember me from when I was a little kid. And that helped me along the way too. Brother Sherlock is in my brother's yearbook. My brother's yearbook, some not black and white. I don't think. God, I gotta look back. But you know, my brother graduated in 2000 with Dean Ash's son, with Aaron Ash. They
Hmm.
actually graduated together. So that's funny, you know, to think about uh Andre. I think it was Andre Barrett was in his class, or yeah, Andre Barrett was in his
Andre
class.
Barrett, yeah.
He, you know, so him, Mr. Shea, Miss Behringer, Deacon Brown, God rest her soul, she was there. I believe Brother Walderman was there at a point. I remember Mr. Goldberg. I like these are all people that I remember as a kid. You know, some of whom I didn't have the opportunity to have as a faculty member when I came to Rice, but for the most part, they had a lot of the same people that my brother had. So just having that, seeing that they taught me. I didn't get any preferential treatment, by the way, for people who think that because you had family that went to Rice, you got treated special. No, you didn't. You got treated exactly the same as everybody else. There was no special treatment. If you mess up, you mess up. If you did good, you did good. And there was no gray area. Rice was very, let me not say there was no gray, because in life, there's a lot of gray. It's about how you navigate it.
Oh, that's what it is.
And
And and
Rice
and,
was
and
all about navigating the gray.
you did get special treatment because anybody walked through those doors got treated special. Some of them didn't understand and know how to get treated special, and they rejected it. Um, I would say that there was only a few teachers there who were there to get a paycheck, and you got to know who they were. Um, but the most of the teachers that they got at Rice were very good teachers. I saw, who came to my church and spent the day with me and my family? Um, Dr. Battisti.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. She came and spent the day. She took the train down from New Haven to come to spend the day at the church. And we took her to dinner, my wife and my son. So, as I said, you forge relationships over the years, and they're at all levels, not just one level. I was the officiant at Dean Ash's funeral. I went all the way to North Carolina, South Virginia. The
Yeah.
bonds didn't just go from student teacher and teacher student; it went sideways too.
Teacher, student.
Yep, yep,
Is
yep.
there's certain things you just can't break, and you know, telling people you can't go to this school anymore, you can't work here anymore. That we showed that that could never break us.
Hmm.
It shows. We've had, if I'm not mistaken, two gatherings since Rice closed. There was that first initial where we tried to get together inside the building, which there was a lot of us who showed up. And then when Kemba joined the Knicks, that was the next time, from what I understand, the next gathering, which there's a big turnout for that as well, where men who graduated years prior to that were showing up in droves. So
Oh, I was there.
exactly. So it shows, you know, it shows that whatever the archdiocese decision was, and they thought that it would affect some type of whatever it did for them, it didn't stop us. It didn't break us. And in the very near future, I hope that we can open up a school with some of the same faculty and with some of those students who graduated, and we can continue that mission. We can continue and continue those efforts in the communities so that we groom and we breed more young people to do the same and pass it along to others and pay it forward. So that's where the real change comes in the community, when the people you teach, like you said, give a little piece to that next generation. Don't look at them as if, oh, I can't believe you guys are doing this now. Instead, so how can we help you do better so you don't continue to do this? This is what I learned here. Maybe you could take a little bit of it. You don't have to take everything, just take a little bit of it and apply it. And if that works, teach the next group how to apply that little bit of it, and the next group and the next group. And that's when you see institutional change. And that's what was happening.
And that's when I say the enemy, I speak from a spiritual perspective, and that's what the enemy could no longer take, and they had to close Rice. Part of it, we allowed it to happen because a lot of people saw the small pictures and they stopped paying. So financially, Rice became a burden. But if everybody was financial, which means up to state with their thing, they would not have closed Rice, but they would conveniently use that as an excuse to get rid of it. We made it easy for them. But my experience there, I wouldn't have traded for the world. I worked for 21 years with the state police. I loved the job. Those 8 years in Rice were better than those 21 plus years because I got more out of it in those 8 years by far, not even close. Didn't get paid a lot of money, but that's okay. That was okay.
Sometimes it's not about the money.
Yeah, it's about where I wanted to be. It was where I wanted, and I enjoyed that. And I sat down there, but I have to ask my question. It's only one question, and I know y'all used to hate it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. How's Cole? You don't have to answer. Oh,
I actually spoke to
how's
Cole a few
Cole?
weeks ago. Cole is doing well. He's
I didn't really need for your answer. It was rhetorical, right? But oh right, here we go again. It's Cole. Oh man, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, Cole was my boy though. Cole was one of the first people I made contact with at Rice. He was literally like the first day I walked in, I saw Josh Gomez, 6'7" at the time, freshman year, and my 5'5" self looking up and going, "Oh, okay." And then I looked to my right, and there was Cole, and and we say, "Oh, you see how big he is? Yeah. What's your name, Cole? What's your name, Shaq? Nice to meet you. Oh, we're in the same class." And the rest is history. Cole and I were in the same class all 4 years, played ball together outside of school throughout the summer, hung out, him, Ari, Eric, Muhammad, myself, it just bonds forged. And I spoke to him as recently as in April, before we made our move. We moved from Connecticut down to Florida for a work opportunity. So it's definitely, he's doing well. Ari's doing well. Uh, he just started a new position with Metro North, and he's only been there for maybe 2 months now, and he's already on track to be promoted. So everybody's being successful. Muhammad just graduated from our school, so he just got his degree. Eric is doing well in everything that he's doing. He's progressing. So a lot of us are, we stay in contact. We're all doing well. We talk about you guys all the time.
When and you're going to continue to do well because it's inside of you now. Now, what's Muhammad's last name?
Bass, Basse.
Bass. Okay, okay. I'm trying to put the names together. Okay. No, it's well worth the time. 8 years. Like I said, I probably would have stayed there forever. Even if I became a pastor, I still probably would have stayed there. Especially with the size of my church, I could have done both easily.
Yeah, and I wish you had the opportunity to, but the door hasn't closed. The door hasn't closed. So I don't have a direct effect on it yet, but my plan is to definitely affect that change, to give you that opportunity again, because there's a generation of young people who need somebody like you in their lives.
I don't know if I'd have to modify my energy. I don't have the same energies anymore to do it the way. I'd have to do it a new way. It's not that I wouldn't do it. I'd have to do it a new way. I couldn't do it the same way I did before. First of all, I ain't as strong as I was then, and B, I'm a little bit smarter. Got away with some stuff the first time. Don't do it. Don't go around doing the same old thing. You got to do it a different way. But I really and truly enjoyed my time. It was very rewarding. I got to meet people, whether it was faculty, staff, um, students, even the people in the neighborhood. They used to look out for you. Then I come to find out that I had people who, because you all thought I was a square when I first got it right. They think you look at you, you're a square, this and that, because I didn't do, say it this way or do it that way. And so yeah, they didn't think I knew anybody. And I would come to class and I said, which one of you knuckleheads was on 145th Street doing so and so? And what's name said, Dr. Rob, how did you know? I said, I tell you, I got eyes everywhere. And then you're gonna do something. You got the shirt on, a hat or something. I said they're gonna do, and they wouldn't tell you. I said, didn't she tell you she knew? Well, she didn't say Dr. Mr. Robinson. Yeah, but I didn't think she really knew you. I said, I got eyes everywhere. I have eyes everywhere.
Yeah, but it's like growing up when your mom is looking at you from out the window while you're playing in the street. It's the same effect. It's the same effect of walking around in your neighborhood and having the grandma down the street who you think is just being nosy, but as soon as you're doing something you got no business doing, she's telling you, and then you walk away thinking that's it, and then you by the time you get home, your parents are waiting for you, like, oh, so this is what we do now. So it's that
Yeah,
same effect, and as kids, we don't appreciate it. We never appreciate it
yeah.
as kids, but as an
Because you have
adult,
kids that you don't you appreciate all the eyes you can on yours?
oh man.
And people said, and my son, I said to him, I said, boy, I know you. I could see right through you. And he just sat there and looked at me because I called what he was going to do. I mean, I called out just as clear, but I learned that from my mother because my mother, I used to sit there and say, how did she know? I think to myself, how did she know? Who told? Blah, 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 this and that. And one day she finally told me, she said, boy, I know you. I made you. I put everything in you you got. I put it there. I know you. If such and such happened this way and it was broken, your sister would cry. Your brother would just leave it alone, but you would scheme how you could fix it and make it look like somebody else did it. He said, you're just were different children. I know you. Do you not know that boy came to me in the middle of nowhere a couple of days later? Dad, can people really see through people? Yep. 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 And when you figure it out that it's not the way you mean, yep, you'll learn because you're going to use that on your children. But yeah, but that I knew in my class, I knew who did what. Somebody stole my iPad. I know who stole it. I couldn't accuse them because I didn't actually see it, but I know who stole it because I knew my kids and was as a kid that I liked, but I watched him, just his behavior that day changed. I was watching him and he was lurking. I didn't know why, but I found out later. Stole my iPod.
it, I don't know. I mean, I do know. It's just there's so much. There's so much. Like we can do this literally the entire day. The entire day.
Mhm.
I have no issue doing it the entire day. Just talking about everything because trying to get 30 to 45 minutes and talk about rice alone, thinking that that would be enough is I wouldn't want I don't want to say it's a crazy idea to think that you could just talk about rice in 30 or 45 minutes and that would be enough. There's so much that goes into it that if I can or when I can be able to, I would love to make a documentary on it just because of how deep this
Yeah,
goes.
I figured somebody would one day because it's really a good story. It really is a good story overall. They had some not everything was good, ended up perfect. Like I said, there's some who ended up doing jail time. There's some who ended up dead. But those are by far, especially comparing the stats around the city, by far pale to the success stories. It's just amazing because most of you weren't supposed to succeed in any manner. You'll be a part of the system, and that's what the system was geared to show us. But y'all fooled them. Y'all surprised them. And that's why I look at the teachers that, administrators who passed away. Dean Nash, Miss, what you just called her name earlier? I can see her
Brown.
face.
Deacon
Miss
Brown.
who?
Deacon Brown.
Deacon Brown. Deacon Brown. And what you call it passed too? The photographer, Brother Humphrey.
Glenn. Brother Glenn.
Yeah. Brother Glenn, yeah. And anybody else I can't think off the top of my head, but I know, sadly. And the most bizarre story that I had was a kid who looked perfectly normal as far as actions and behavior. And when I found out that him and two others dismantled people and spread their body parts around the city, I'm like, oh my God, that kid was in my class. It was mind blowing. But they end up there. He probably still in jail because I'm sure he got 25 to life.
For every, like you said, for every 100 success stories, there's always one or two that unfortunately we can't save. And it's hard, but we have to accept who we can save and be okay, and not be okay with, but understand that not everybody can be saved.
Well, what
Not
you're
everybody
okay with
wants
is
to be
that
saved.
you put your effort in, because you're not okay with the results, but you have to be okay that you put your effort in. And to this day, like I said, there was one who failed. He wasn't the only one that died, but he's the one I know I feel like I could have helped him to change.
No, of
But
course.
I loved working at Rice. I did.
Wow.
And the kids loved it. I think of stories all the time. I think of a 6'5" boy coming to my class crying, because he hated his father and such. But in the end, he did the right thing. Oh, one boy saw me. I say, boy, young man saw me, and he just kept staring at me. And I walked over to him. I said, "So you're gonna act like you don't know me?" And he looked at me. He said, "Well, I thought you knew my history." I said, "Oh yeah, I heard about your history." I said, "But what does that have to do with you speaking to me?" "Well, I didn't think you want to associate with just sitting there." I said, "You didn't learn a thing I said in class, did you?" Yeah, but I said, "No, I'm not." I didn't say, "But you did." No, it's not. Yeah, but you did. You got caught up. I said, "Did you do it?" He said, "Yeah, I got a little time and such and such." And I said, "Did you learn from it?" That's the key. I said, other than that, you did this to yourself. And anybody did this. So why would I not speak to you? He said, "Man, I went and he saw some other teacher and they would just roll their eyes at me and just wouldn't speak." I said, "Well, I'm not, you weren't in my class paying attention." Because that's just not who I am. It's not what I do.
Yeah, it goes so far. The reach is never ending. It I don't know. It's hard to quantify it. Like right now, I'm really trying to fathom everything, and just the time that we've spent talking about it and trying to put it into words, and it's so difficult for me to express it. But even with the story you just told now, that's similar to a story that a parent would tell about their child. How many times do we hear stories of kids being ashamed to go back to their parents after they've had some type of hardship? And a parent goes, "Listen, you did it. Did you learn from it? I still care about you. You can still come talk to me. You can still come see me. There's nothing to be embarrassed about."
Yeah. That it's and that, but that's being a minister. It's having a forgiving spirit, and it's hard for some because if you have a hardened heart, it's hard for you to forgive. But if you've been through stuff and God delivered you, or you have people around you who are softened, so when you got in trouble, they didn't, ridicule you. They just helped you get through. I mean, I got a 7-year-old. Seemed like he's always doing something, and I said, I don't know where you got that from. And then a couple of times I had to laugh at myself. Yeah, I said, yes, you do. Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. That's all he did. Do you remember when you did? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. No, don't forget. Yeah, you did that. He only did that, but you did that. And I'm like, oh man, I hope he don't do that.
I have those moments every day. Literally had it yesterday. My oldest was playing up on the jungle gym, and he climbs to the top, and he's just sitting down lounging. And my wife goes, "Why is he doing that? He's doing this and this and this." She goes, "I don't want him to fall." And I said, "It's all right, just leave him." She goes, "Well, I don't know where he gets that from." I said, "From me." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "If my mom wasn't looking, I climb to the top and jump off." I was like, "He's better than me because he's not jumping off. He's just laying down up there."
And that's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. And you're absolutely right.
So it's so funny. Because while they make you mad, Lord knows they make me mad from time to time. But a lot of times, 5 minutes later, I end up laughing because it's just it's funny how kids are. They know they do wrong, but at the same time, they also know that uh, the discipline. Like I'm firm, but I'm fair, and the boys they understand that everything that we do comes from a place of love. I explain it to them. Listen, I'm gonna be tough on you now, so when you go out into the world and you see how the world is, you're not caught off guard. You're not caught. You won't be surprised by how people treat you because I'm doing this from a place of love. Sometimes when you step outside of these walls of your home, the people that are doing certain things to you, it's not from a place of love. It's not from a place of caring or compassion. And you have to be able to discern the difference between the two and know how to navigate those murky waters.
Yep. And once you learn that and they get it, it's you just pray for them, you pray over them, and that they'll go out and no harm, and that they make good choices. But you still have to be there, whether they make a poor choice or if it's a good choice. You have to be there. If you're a teacher, you have to do that with students, and that's not that's a little bit more difficult because sometimes you say, "Oh, this ain't mine. He's not my son. This and that." But yeah, no, I told you one of the first things I said is that I adopted all of y'all. And some of y'all got on my nerves, and I know I got on some of your nerves. It's called relationships. It happens. You get up and you have to learn how to deal with people you like, and you have to learn how to deal with people you don't like. It's just a part of life. It's not a magic pill, just a part of life.
Yeah. And it's all a tangled web that's weaved and you live it, you learn it, and then you pass it along. And I feel like the most successful people are the ones who pass it along. As long as you've lived it and you've learned it and you pass it on to that generation that's behind you, you've done your part in life.
Yep,
I feel like you've done your part. I don't think success can be measured by a number. I don't view it that way. Finances are a good thing, for the most part, but for me, it's the effect that you have. What effect did you have on those around you that will propel them to be successful as well?
that's 100%.
So that Dr. Rob, listen, we will keep going. We will be
Yeah.
on here for 3 hours.
No, I gotta go because I'm hungry now because I haven't eaten all day, and I done went to the gym this morning and then went to the dam and walked and everything else, and went back home and didn't eat a bite, not one bite.
no, I got to
I'm
do the same.
starving.
I got off work this morning, went to sleep, woke up at 11:55. I was like, "Up, I'm supposed to be on with Dr. Rob in 5 minutes. Let me clean up."
Yeah, my wife, she starts talking to me after I said, I tell you how to Zoom, and she starts talking, just doesn't hear what I said. I said, I have a meeting at 12. It's 11:57. So she sits down and talking finance. I said, you know what? let her go. I said, I just have to get checked. I'll as I drive over, I'll get on because sometimes I go to Sunday school. I teach from Zoom. I just get on as I'm driving.
Yes, let me go ahead and get something to eat because my wife got to get to work too. But I appreciate you taking the time out and
All
just
right.
talking with me.
So now what are you going? What are you doing with this? Are you put in a book or what are you doing?
So right now it's kind of like a web series. I do these interviews or these talks. I edit the videos and they're either one or two parts. And then I post it on my YouTube channel. It's under the series The Last Raiders. I'll send you the link for it. And then I also posted on the Rice Facebook page so that the brothers who may not go on YouTube as often or whatever the case may be can still be in touch and see different people from different generations of Rice. And then I also posted on my regular Facebook page so that somebody will see it. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from people who didn't attend Rice, just saying that uh, you know they're appreciative of what I'm doing and what everybody else is doing, just taking the time out to talk about their story. I want people to understand, Rice may still be closed, but Rice isn't silent. Rice has always been a loud entity in the city of New York. And I want it to continue to be that 10 years after closure. Ooh,
All right. Very good. I like I said, I enjoyed this, but make sure you send me that link.
will do. All right, Dr. Rob. I'm going to let you go.
You tell the missus and the two boys now they can let them go.
I definitely will. You tell the missus and tell your little one I said hello as well.
And shoot, that boy is 7 years old, already weighs over 80 pounds.
Yeah,
Solid, not fat, solid.
I both of mine. The youngest is 4. He turns 4 in March. He's got to be about 50, solid. And then
Yeah.
Aaron is 9. He'll be 10 in September. Every time I pick, it's like picking up a sack of bricks. So if he's not 100 pounds, he's pushing it. All muscles. I don't know where they get it from because it surely ain't me.
Oh, Shaq, you're a compact, strong guy.
They're already tall. Aaron is almost as tall as me now, so he's definitely going to pass me in that regard, which is fine. That's part of parenthood. The kids, they grow and they surpass you, and that's perfectly fine with me. I don't.
Yep. And that's why I said I don't compete against my kid. I want him to be better than me at
Hmm.
any and all turns. I set a bar for you. You're going to make sure your education is important to you. And I set a bar for you, but I want you to surpass everything. I don't have any ego. I want you to be better than me.
Absolutely, I say the same thing. Shaq, go. You're gonna make your kids play ball if they want to play ball. Oh, what if they're better than you? Great. All I did was play in little tournaments in the neighborhood. If they go past that, then they're doing all right. I did a pretty good job then. So, uh,
Well,
Shaq, you only
well-rounded
you only went
individuals.
to
That's all
community
we can
college.
ask for.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a firm believer in that. I want them to be better than me. I will never ever limit any information and resource that I feel would propel them to be successful ever. So that's that, and that's another lesson that I learned from you all. So once again, thank you, and I will send you that link as soon as. Well, I'll send you the link to it so
Just
you
send me a
can
link
just watch.
anyway so I can see some of the other stuff too. But I just
I'm gonna edit this one up and get it up there, and that way it'll be there for you to view as well. So I'll send you the link once we get off now, so you can take a look. I got a couple episodes up there, uh, and I make sure that I try to keep them from being short. There's a for that because, like I said, you can't.
well, it's hard to
Time
cover a
it.
lot in a little bit of time. Yeah, this was an extensive interview. Most interviews are more like 3 or 4 minutes, unless you put them all together. You put them all together, and you can't have them long.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I do with them, and the hope is to then take the all of them compile them, just take bits and pieces of them and put it into a documentary where we kind of walk down, walk down 125th Street, walk down Lenox Avenue, see the building, and we have Rice as a collective have that voice scream out to people just to continue to remind people the force, the impact, and everything that went into it.
Well, good. I'll be looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you. I appreciate you for taking part in it.
All right. Thank you, Shaq.
All right.
All right. God bless.
God bless.
All right, bro.